Hello everyone, thank you so much for coming to craft with me tonight. Now I'm sorry I'm a day late. I had huge plans to have this video up last night, but the kids were off school all week this week and it has been busy. And then it might have been my birthday yesterday. So my son got me this mug, which I wanted to share with you because I feel like that just sums up me at the moment fully and completely. He had lots of fun with all the packaging that one of my gifts came in. But it was a busy and a fun day yesterday, and my son went off for a sleepover last night, and my daughter is away in France with Girl Guides, and so we had the night to ourselves, and we actually watched 2 movies, my husband and I. We haven't even seen a full movie without pausing it in so long, and we got to watch 2 movies last night. So really awesome birthday, but I'm sorry my video was late because I just wanted to enjoy hanging out with my husband. But I had a lot of fun with this technique, and it is one that I have done before, but I did a slightly different variation. So I'm going to start by showing you the basic version, which is the one that I have done before with you guys, and then I'm going to show you the stepped up version if you have got a matching stencil set. So I'm taking a 3D embossing folder, running it through my Big Shot, and of course, because this is a 3D embossing folder, I'm going to remove my bottom plate, my bottom cutting plate, and then run it through because the 3D embossing folders are quite thick. I'm using just standard cardstock. I think this is 300 GSM. And what we are going to do is flip it over and we are going to use the debossed side. Now on the screen are the colors that I have used for basically every single card today. So if you want to take note of the colors, if you like the colors I've used, these are the ones I've done. Plus I use a couple Lisa Horton ink pads as well. Now, funny little side note, Lisa and I actually share the same birthday, so it was her birthday yesterday as well. So Lisa, if you're watching, happy birthday! Now, I've got my ink pad holder because I was looking through all my stash at what I had from Lisa Horton because she does stencils and matching embossing folders. And then I found my little ink pad holder, which I haven't used in forever because I kind of forgot I had it. And it's so great because nothing wiggles around when I'm using it. So that's what I've got there on my right-hand side. Now, starting out, the basic sort of method of this technique is to color in your embossed images. Obviously, we're using the deboss side, so the side that's kind of pushed in. And you can be quite messy with this as long as you're not overlapping your images. You can be a little bit messy because we are going to cover that background and you won't see any of the mess that's outside the line. So you can see here I'm doing it quite rough and quite quickly. I'm using some blending brushes that I got off of I think it was AliExpress. I'll link them down below for you. I think they're still available. I also have some skinny little brushes I use as well. Now, when I was finished this, I realized that I have a lot of those butterfly, what are they called? Stema? Is that what they're called? Stema? I don't know. The butterfly antennas. And I wanted to color them in and have them kind of stand out a bit. So I grabbed one of my acrylic paint pens and I'm just using the silver color just so that it has a little bit of shine and it pops off the card a bit. Now this is where the magic happens. This is called, I think, the blackout technique. So what you do is you take your black ink pad and drag it along the top. You're being very careful. I'm leaving this quite slow in the video because I want to show you that you do need to go quite slow with it. Don't get overexcited and do not push down really hard. If you push down really hard, all the ink will go straight into your embossed areas anyways, or debossed areas. So you want to drag it very gently over the surface and just make sure to try and hit all those raised edges. So it's quite fun because you get a highlight of the finer details in those butterflies or whatever images you're using. And then it blacks out the background. So it makes it look like you've got this bright, vibrant background to your card, but it's really, really quite easy to achieve it. Now, if you want more perfection, you could always color in the background with a black permanent marker. And if you do that, it might be easier for you to color the other way around and color the embossed side of it so that you can then trace around it. So that's another way you can do it. For the next one, I'm going to share with you when you've got stencils that match the embossing folder. And I know lots of companies now do them. And the only ones I've got are Lisa Horton ones. I really love them. And so I'm going to do this kind of Christmassy themed one. And I'm going to share with you a trick on how you can get the color down and still do this same technique. So you can do your layering stencils and get all those cool, gorgeous colors and details from the stencils, but also do the blackout technique. Obviously, when you do it, normally you would do your color on your cardstock and then emboss it with the raised side poking upward, or you would emboss it first and then stencil over it and follow the embossed lines with your stencils. However, if you're doing the blackout technique, you need that to be reversed. It needs to be the debossed side. So the first method I'm going to show you is how you can do it if you do not have anything that holds your stencils, because I know a lot of us don't have a stencil holder or a stencil platform. So I've taken a piece of board. This is like a mount board. You could use a big piece of paper, would work the same. I've taped down my piece of cardstock to that board using low tack tape. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my stencil and put it over the top of my paper to where I want it to be. And then I'm going to trace my stencil. So Lisa Horton has got these little dots, these little kind of cutouts here on the right-hand side. And that is so that you can use it with her all-in-one kind of multi-purpose ultimate tool, and I'll show you that in a minute. You'll see it coming up once I've done this technique. So that's why there's holes there. So I'm just tracing those holes and then tracing around my stencil so that every single layer of my stencil I can put down in the exact same spot so that my whole entire image, when it starts to come together, will all be in the same position that it should be in when you're doing your stenciling. So this is a great way to do stenciling if you don't have something that's going to hold those stencils for you. Just trace it. So what I did was I traced it. I stuck a little bit of low tack tape there on the corner to hold down the stencil, and I'm going to stick 1 or 2 more pieces of low tack tape down to make sure that stencil doesn't go anywhere. And then I will reuse my tape for all of my cards. So the tape lasts for ages, and I just keep using it on each card that I create in the video. The first color I'm going in with is a lovely metallic color from Lisa Horton. This is from her metallics range, so this one is called Mojito, and I'm going to just do those little green kind of leafy, spriggy things, starting with that. I always follow the outside of the stencil packaging because sometimes I get confused as to what colors should go where and what exactly the image is going to be, because I forget with each stencil what I might be coloring. So I'm looking at my little stencil guideline on the side while I'm doing this. The next bit is going to be the oranges, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line up my stencil back over top of my markings that I put down and then tape it in place and then add the next color. Now for the next color, I was wanting to kind of give it a bit of a 3D kind of look. So I was going for darker around the edges and then lighter towards the center. It didn't really matter in the end about doing that because by the time I put the next stencil on and used the next color of ink, it kind of just blended all the colors together. So that was a little bit pointless. But it's all worth, trying these things. You have to try them to see if it's going to work or not. So that's the reason why I've got the kind of almost like sunshine look going on with my little oranges. Then once that one's done, I go ahead and add on the next stencil. And for this one, obviously I wanted to do my oranges in one color and my stars in a different color. So I just did them one at a time and just paid attention to what I was doing. And for this one here, I used the color Sunshine to do the tops of my oranges, and it just kind of gives it a little bit of a metallic glow when you tilt it in the right light. So I love kind of mixing normal ink colors with some of these metallic-y kind of ink colors because it gives it just a bit of shine and it's quite nice. Now I'm going to pick up the speed a bit here with my stenciling in because I don't want you to be quite bored. So we're going to quickly jump through the rest of coloring the stencils, but it is all the exact same. I just kind of went through the numbers of stencils in the order and then put the color down. Now I thought I'd mention right now as well while you're watching what's going on the screen that if you are looking for any of the products that I use today, if they're still available and I can link them, then I will link them down in the description box for you. And I do earn a commission on some of the things that I link. Some I don't, but I'll still link them anyways for you down below. But if you use my links, they cost you nothing extra, but they do sometimes give me a little bit of an income on the side. So I really do appreciate when you guys do use those links. So here's the finished product. It's hard to pick up that shine, but it is gorgeous and lovely. Now, obviously, when you go to use the embossing folder, we've done it in the reverse. So all the stencils were reversed so that we could put it into the embossing folder reversed. So normally you want the raised bumpy bit to be underneath your image. This time we are going to put it on top of our image so that that raised bumpy bit is pushing into our cardstock and giving us a debossed finish. Now this is super easy to line up because we've done all the colors, so you just line it up with the embossing folder, run it through your Big Shot or your die cutting platform like normal, and then there you go. It's all gorgeous, it's all debossed. I keep wanting to say dented. It's all debossed and gorgeous. So I managed to get it exactly straight on for the most part, which I'm really impressed with because sometimes I get it just a little bit askew when I run it through, but I'm pretty impressed with how well I did. And then now we can go ahead and do our blackout phase. Now, one of the things I learned along the way with making a few of these card blanks is that it might be a good idea to do a trial run to see where your black ink is going to hit, to see if it will be a good embossing folder to do or not. So on this one, I go through and put all the black on. And I love the look, but you can see I lost my little green spriggy things. So they've just completely disappeared. Here you can see them. They're too raised up, like they're not debossed enough. and I kind of lost that, but it's okay. I left this to dry completely. And then I went ahead and grabbed my stencil. It's super easy to line up over the top because you can see through the whole entire image. So I just lined it back up where those little green bits were. And then this time, because it's on black, I want to choose an ink color that is going to appear green because I wanted to keep it green. And Lisa's got these inks called interference inks, and they happen to be one color on white cardstock and a different color on black cardstock. So I keep this little kind of handmade folder in my drawers, and I have all my swatches done on black and on white so I can see which color I would need. And this one here is green on black and then yellow on white. So I just went ahead and grabbed that ink color, and I'm going to blend that through my stencil just like before. And now this time when I tilt it in the light, you can see it's green because it's now on top of black colored background. So I love that you can do that. Sometimes you can fix an oopsie just by being a little bit creative with your ink pads. Now for my next one, I did the balloons from Lisa Horton, and I did that off screen. You didn't need to see it on screen. You'll see it on screen in a second anyways, because I'm going to show you how to do it with a platform if you have a platform. And now what I should have done before I did my balloons was do this little test. I've done it on a blank piece of white card. I'm dragging my ink pad over just to see where it hits to make sure that I'm not going to lose any of those balloons. And this would have been clever to do before I did all of the stenciling, because then I could have worked out if it was good or not good. Turns out it's fine. So I was thinking, okay, this is great. I only get a little bit minimal kind of inking on my actual images. So I thought this time, hey, let's run it through the embossing folder so that we've got it debossed, just like my little sample. And then I had this genius idea, let's get the brayer out, because if I hit it just ever so slightly with the ink pad, the brayer should go over it and not even hit my images at all because they're all debossed and poked it down. So hopefully the brayer will go over the top. But I didn't think to trial run my brayer on a blank piece of card first. So this is where the big oopsie comes in. I grab my brayer and my ink pad, and it makes a hot mess because the brayer somehow seemed to hit inside those balloons. But never mind, we live and we learn, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to show you how you can do this technique if you've got one of these little platforms or a different kind of platform. Now, obviously, when we're doing the reverse, we have to flip the stencil over. However, when you flip the stencil over with a Lisa Horton platform, you don't then have the little pegs to hook your stencil onto. So to kind of counter that, you just are going to turn your stencil upside down. So the stencil is still reversed. We're on the back of the stencil, so the side without the number on it. And we are just going to flip it upside down so that the pegs work and the pegs will hold our stencil. So once I've got my position of my cardstock, which I'm going to do bigger than I need, just so that it's easier to get my stencil lined up where I want it to be. And then I'm going to tape it down to secure it in place. Then I can go ahead and pop my stencil on. And just to make sure it doesn't wiggle at all, I'm going to add a little bit of tape on the side. Then I've got these giant makeup brushes, which I also got from AliExpress, I believe. And they're just huge makeup brushes. They were really quite cheap. I think I only paid maybe £1.50 for each one. And they work great for nice big areas like this. So you can just put down lots of ink really quickly. And you can also do some ink blending with them if you wanted as well. So this is how I did that first card. I did it on my cardboard. But you can do it nice and quick if you do have a little holder like this one. This one's called the Ultimate, might be the Ultimate 2 from Lisa Horton. I'll link it down below for you in the UK and on scrapbookdotcom. There are accessories you can get with it as well, so it makes it quite cool and unique. So here it is all finished. My ink pad had barely any sort of drag over the top of those balloons, which was really nice. And then here's a summary of the ones that we did on screen. And you can see the green is looking so gorgeous. It just pops off of that black background so nicely. So that one is all finished and dry and ready to go. And then I did another one off the screen, this really cute flower one. I did the same method. I did my stenciling and then I embossed it and then I did the black over the top. This one also comes with a die cut, so you could die cut out that flower if you wanted. And then on this one, I used a couple other metallic ink pad colors from Lisa Horton. And then I actually really liked these ones. These were my little trial ones. So I'm going to actually turn these into cards as well. Now I went ahead and finished off my cards off screen just to not bore you. These are the supplies I used to finish them off. And I love how every one of my cards turned out. Super simple and cute. I just put a little panel on the top. I used my ink pad to color the background layer, and then I used my ink pad to color a little piece of cardstock to go on the front. and use my embossing folder to add a little bit of dimension to the background, and then those butterflies with some gems glued on the top. Super quick and easy to put together, with a little sentiment added from my stash of pre-made sentiments. For the next one, I use these cute little flat back holeless sequins and then the happy birthday from Lisa Hortons, and I finished both these cards in the same way. I just added a few of those little gems. And then this one here, for the background, I decided to match it to my leaves and colored my background in that same gold color. So I love how they look. I love this monochromatic look as well. It's so beautiful. For my next one, I decided to go with the Christmas theme because it was the Christmas background. And so I added Merry Christmas, layered it 3 times on some white cardstock, and then stuck it on a piece of vellum. And it was at this point that I was filming and I looked down at it and thought, even though I made a mental note of which direction to put this, I still put it on my card upside down. Hopefully the recipient won't notice. But yeah, another oopsie in my card making today. I'm clearly very tired from having the kids home all week. Never mind. Tuck that one to the side. Now, because I had these 3 backgrounds left, I thought I would just share the backgrounds I had left with you. But then actually, because my video didn't go up last night and I didn't get a chance to edit it, I sat down again this morning and finished off that black and white card because I really just wanted to finish it. There's something about it I just love. So here's the finished card. What do you think? I think I made a great little card out of this little embossed image. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you didn't mind a slightly longer one, and I hope you have a go as well. If you haven't got layering stencils, then maybe you could go for the monochromatic look and create yourself a fun background that way. Take care. I hope you guys have an excellent rest of your weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye.